There we go. There's our field division. See us there? All right. Morning, this is John of the Pine Tree. I have the great pleasure of being here with Supervisor Candidate Russ Thomas.
Morning,
Thank
John.
you, Russ. Hey, one of the things we're talking about is I know leading up to this election, there's been a lot of, I guess, interest, but also confusion among some of the voters and stuff with all the redistricting. And we thought you'd be a good one to talk to us about it because I think your candidacy and everything else is, I guess, central in the redistricting. So now that you're running for supervisor in District 4 and Copperopolis has shifted into this district, tell us a little bit about the district. So what is, what are some of the changes?
Okay, well, you're right that a lot of people are perhaps confused about where they are
Right.
actually located in
Yeah.
the newly configured district.
I'm confused most of the time. But that's,
Are you?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, let me show you. If you can start by visualizing the county,
Right.
the county line. This is, of course, Stanislaus County
Got it.
coming in Highway 4. This,
Milton over
yeah,
here.
yeah, Milton. Milton is just outside of the district. That's
Got it.
in District 5.
Yeah.
See, this line kind of carves around Milton, that goes up Hunt Road. All of the Salt Spring Valley is in the new district, and starting back over here, it goes all the way to the Stanislaus River in the south. So there's very little population here, of course, but here's Copperopolis, which incidentally constitutes about 41% of the voter population in the new district. Coming on up here to the intersection of Highway 4 and 49, it extends out in this direction here out to Meacham Ranch Road.
Got it.
That's
Yep.
in the district. Here's the Angels Camp Vet Hospital right there. That's just slightly more inside
Mhm.
the district. Comes out to Dogtown Road, and everything on the south and east side of Dogtown Road, going on all out here to Darby Lane, Ponderosa Way, just southwest of Murphy's. Murphy's, of course, was in
Right.
District 4, but got shifted over into District 3 when Copperopolis came into District 4. And then going down Highway 4, the district wraps around the Irish vineyards
Right.
there, and so everything on the other side of
So up
this is-
Camp 9, all
yeah,
that stuff is still.
yeah, Parrots Ferry
Right.
Road marks the line
Mhm.
of demarcation between
Mhm.
3 and 4.
Okay.
So everything south of Parrots Ferry Road is in the new District 4 all the way to the river. So out on Arola Road, that of course all that area still is in District 4.
Right.
And so anyway, it's an exciting district. I think it makes much more sense
Oh, much
to
more.
join
Yeah.
the Highway
Yeah.
4 corridor instead of being
And I think
split.
and a little aside to that, I think when you were a supervisor before, your district before, I think, was one of those districts that was the hardest one to represent, because I know that you were the miles that you went back and forth between the two halves of the district made it almost an unmanageable, or tough. Made it a tough one to represent.
Well, there were many days when I would do my mileage accumulation.
Mhm.
This may sound remarkable to you, but with a couple of trips to Valley Springs, looping back through
Mhm.
San Andreas, coming to Copperopolis, and then back to Valley Springs
Right.
at night, I would drive 350 miles in a day,
Right.
and never really essentially get out of the county except for
Mhm.
the short distance
Mhm.
out of.
Because you actually had to leave the county to get to that was the
Yeah.
most efficient way to get to the other side of your district, right?
That's right.
Now, how many people are in this district?
There are about 5,900.
Okay.
Of registered voters, but of course at 20% of
Sure.
the roughly 47,000 people, there's
Right.
about a little bit over 9,000 total population, but only 6,000 registered voters.
Now, I guess the question, now I think with the reconfigurations of the district, I also think it makes an opportunity because this district has the potential to be kind of an economic powerhouse of the county, correct? Isn't that really...
You're absolutely right, and that's one of the things that excites me
Right.
about that, and I think that in many ways District 4 could be could lead us out of the economic depression
Right.
or recession
Right.
that we have found ourselves in. I was really quite pleasantly surprised to hear a realtor mention the fact that we're out of inventory and on the houses,
Right.
and you know, if the laws of economic principles prevail here in the law of supply and demand,
Mhm.
we could be right at the edge of an opportunity to kind of turn things and prices come back up.
Right.
And I think that one of the things that differentiates me from my opponent is that I see the wonderful potential in the tourism, the
Right.
increased tourism that
Mhm.
can occur here and should occur if the county starts to work aggressively with the visitor center.
Right.
And gosh, you may not be aware of this, but our neighbor to the south, Mariposa County, 50% of their general fund revenue, their
Right.
whole general
Yes.
fund revenue
Yeah.
comes from the transient occupancy tax. Now
Right.
let's analyze what this tax means. It's not a tax on anybody in Calaveras County. It is a fee that will be paid for by people that visit our wonderful county, and
So it's not a tax on the homeless? Is that the?
no, it's
No,
not
okay.
a tax on
Yeah.
the homeless. but in all seriousness, in this county,
Yeah.
the transient occupancy tax at 1.2 million, which 800,000 of it comes from the Angels Camp, and
Yeah.
the remaining 400,000 comes from the entire remainder of the county.
Mhm.
But that represents 2% of the general fund
Right.
revenue instead of 50%.
Right.
It's a huge opportunity for us, and I think that the fact that my opponent has been a very vocal, very much in
Sure.
vocal opposition, instead of being a supporter, I think that we cannot afford to overlook this opportunity.
Yeah.
And I'll try if I can to lead the charge on that. So.
Understood. Now, I guess aside from tourism, which I think most people agree now is the kind of the driving engine behind the Calaveras County economy. You know, I think it's just it's the segment that's growing.
Yes.
Yeah. The makeup of this district, I think we've had conversations on this in the past. I think is interesting because technologically, let's say if a company was going to move a company up here, things like that. I mean, because we're in Copperopolis right now, where with Caltel, I mean, you have fiber to the home in most of the instances here. I mean, as far as infrastructure, it's a good thing. I mean, as far as I think this district especially, as far as connectivity, as far as different things like that. I mean, am I wrong in that?
Oh, you're actually, I mean, you're a poster child for being able to be an entrepreneur in using technology
Right.
as the mechanism.
Right.
And we haven't scratched the surface on that.
Right.
And I've been able to use the internet to do commerce in
Mhm.
my own business as a consultant and a salesperson ever since I've been here for the last starting about 15 years ago. I've been here for 17 years, but I saw the opportunities that exist, and I think that this has the potential for speeding up the transplant traffic to Calaveras County, because people don't have to wait until they retire to come here.
Mhm.
They can actually bring their businesses here, and as long as they have connectivity.
Yeah.
And Caltel, of course, has been one of the leaders in plowing in the cables,
Oh, yeah.
the fiber optic
Yeah.
cables, and we're very fortunate here in Copperopolis to have that
Yeah.
availability. I hear some frustrations up higher in the county about people who live half a block away from where
Yeah, the
where
Comca- yeah.
where it's
No,
where
understood.
it's available.
Yeah.
So if we can concentrate on extending those lines,
Right.
we have the county will gain immensely from that. So.
Yeah, I think this is a pitch for, I think in some ways a pitch for District 4, but I think the Calaveras County in general is, for a rural county, we actually have much better connectivity
Mm.
than, say, Tuolumne County. You know, I know they're going to run some fiber to Tuolumne County. It's one of those projects that's upcoming. But we've always thought that the perfect place for, I mean, a few small software companies and things like that, because we have the outdoor activities, we have, the proximity to activities, that, I think that's who we should go after. I mean, that kind of thing.
Well, getting back to what I said about this watershed moment
Sure.
about here in Copperopolis,
Right.
particularly that we're out of inventory or almost
Mhm.
out of inventory on
Mhm.
sales. What that I see that translating into a kind of a new wave of people that would be interested in coming here,
Right.
and with I mean, many of the people places where technology
Yeah.
has allowed them
Yeah.
to come here, both in,
Yeah.
from the standpoint of their economic earnings or their economic activities. They're continuing them here. And I'm just really pretty excited about the potential of being
Yeah.
involved in changing the way that the county government views those opportunities, of making it easier for people to come here, making it more business friendly. We just, I'm constantly hearing tales of despair about how difficult it is to do business in Calaveras
Yes.
County. I would very much like to change that. I
We'll
think
leave
that we
those
can.
out of this piece, right?
Leave it out of this
We'll leave
piece.
the tales, yeah.
Yeah, okay, we can do that the next time.
So I guess in summary then, on the district, what would you say the summary for the district is?
The summary for the district is that for decades it hasn't made any sense for Copperopolis to be joined with a metropolitan
Economically,
or
school
economically,
district-wise,
right,
or
yeah.
anything. Yeah.
And it's made it very difficult for a supervisor who lives in Copperopolis to be perceived as adequately representing the
Got it.
district. So
Got it.
I think that this new configuration, it obviously, I mean, it goes without saying that it presents much more beneficial outcomes, potential
Got it.
outcomes for the district and for the county.
Mhm.
And I think that if people will look back at my record as a member of the Board of Supervisors, they will see that I'm prepared, ready. I am going to be working full time at this activity.
Right.
There'll be no distractions. Hopefully I can continue in the leadership capacity that I had before.
Thank you. Thank you for spending a few minutes with us, and good luck down the stretch on it. And yeah, I think the reconfiguration of this district is a good thing for the economy, good thing not only for the county, but I think it's a kind of a win-win. It's for
I really have to mention that I'm not oblivious to the fact that the city council of
Sure.
of the city of Angels is an integral part of this equation.
Right.
The county must work in concert with them, hand in hand with the development of the economy of Angels
Sure.
Camp. And I hate to use a cliche, but the rising tide will
Oh,
lift all
yeah.
boats. It'll
Well,
be good for
in
District
working
3.
with both of them, you think if you're looking at on the retail side, I mean, for an immediate future for the county, the most obvious choices for increased retail sales tax revenues are Copperopolis and Angels, correct? I mean, isn't that? I mean,
Well, we don't have the population base in Copperopolis to support a so-called big box
Right,
store.
right.
Now, with the change in Angels Camp's ruling as far as size, I mean, they have changed they will allow now, as I understand it, an 80,000 square foot
Right.
shop
Right.
or a store. So that's large enough that you could attract a Target or some other type of retail facility.
mhm.
So it's essential that the county board of supervisors get on board with this concept that right here at the near the intersection of Highway
Right.
4 and 49
Right.
is the obvious best choice for that. I mean, people from Copperopolis can easily
And a lot of them
go
for
up here.
school districts
the-
and school trips, they have to
Yeah,
go
they
there.
go there
They go there
anyway.
anyway. Right. Yeah.
Okay, so you and I are on the same
Mhm.
page on that, and that's really, I mean, I don't want this to be perceived by people outside the district as being that we're going to be pumping up only District 4.
Right. Right.
Whatever happens in District 4 will have a beneficial outcome.
I guess one only thing on that is I think to be candid on it, I think if for increased retail district, I mean the Angels Camp that's probably the least. I mean the path of least resistance. I mean politically would probably have the least resistance
Right.
and everything else to do it
Right.
in that spot.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Joe.
Thanks.